You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's Friday's Finest. Yes, we're ready to go today, and lots going on. James and I are going to get into some discussions, some just different things. There's a lot of opinion on the show today. James and I, we're going to share ours. And without Chip to be here with us, unfortunately, we're going to have more time to do that. And we'll let Chip back in it on the next round. Lots going on here. Look, the world is in still craziness of the South Carolina primaries coming up this Saturday. Tomorrow, this is over. I mean, I've said this before on the podcast that Nikki Haley has now become a Democrat surrogate because of there's no real plan for her to win, and she's not giving a different vision. She's simply attacking Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but at the same point, that's not a vision people rally around, especially when you're not going to be the candidate. So a lot going on this weekend, but we'll see at CPAC. I'm at CPAC. For those of you listening to the podcast on Friday, if you happen to be at CPAC, please come. I'll be lots of media on Friday. I'll be lots of media. We're taping this actually a little bit early on Thursday night, so I'll be at a lot of media on CPAC. I'll be at a criminal justice panel on Friday, and then I'll be the last panel talking Bidenomics before Donald Trump on Saturday on the main stage. So I'm looking forward to being there, seeing all of you before Donald Trump speaks on Saturday at CPAC here in Washington, D.C. Always good to be a part of the audience. I always love to see the people who turn out for CPAC. So looking forward to seeing you. Got lots to talk about. Have some fun today here on Friday's Finest. We'll start back right after the break.
Hey, folks, when you look out and you see the country and just the disarray it is, you see the Biden administration, you see the wholesale prices have just went through the roof again. Inflation is tearing us up. If you have your finances all impinged in just a few areas, if you're just in stocks and bonds and you're not diversified, I got some news for you. You need a navigator. You need somebody to help you get to where you need to go with those finances. And I can't think of anybody better to do that than my friends at Legacy Precious Metals. You need precious metals in that portfolio. You need gold and silver. And Legacy Precious Metals, the folks there, they're the navigators. They know how to deal with tough times. They know and how to look ahead and take your personal situation and make it something that can be workable for you in the long term, because that's at the end of the day, that's the one you're most concerned about. You need to make sure that your personal finances and your retirement are secure. You need folks like Legacy Precious Metals helping you in that. They will take the time to learn you. They'll learn your finances. They'll learn where your investment goals are, and they'll help you get there. And metals and gold right now in this kind of crazy inflation, in this kind of crazy economy with the Biden's economy is just, you need that help. And Legacy Precious Metals is the one to do that. So give Legacy Precious Metals a call, 866-528-1903, 866-528-1903, or you can always visit them online at legacypminvestments.com, and you can download their free investor's guide. Legacy Precious Metals, they're the ones you need. They're the navigators to help you through these turbulent times. Hey, everybody, Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank all of my listeners, the great Doug Collins podcast listeners, for your continued support. To thank you, they're offering an overstocked clearance sale right now for the best price you ever use when you use the promo code Collins, COLLINS, and you get free shipping on the entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0, the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. Get six-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on large items like mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made here in the United States and on sale for as low as $99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and much, much more. To get the best specials ever, go to the mypillow.com, and use the promo code Collins, COLLINS, or call 800-986-3994 and use the same keyword Collins, COLLINS, and get free shipping on your entire order while supplies last. MyPillow products, thank you. Y'all go check them out.
All right, we're back. James
Douglas.
is with us. James, I am so happy, and now you're. How is Dallas? I mean, I understand that you're now actually experiencing different parts of the Dallas metroplex.
Yeah, we moved. My brother bought a house, and I get to live with him. And because I mean, listen, the option was get an apartment or live with me, and I was like, all right, I'll live with you. Still paying rent. I'm not a freeloader. But I figure, I got a couple months here, and then I'm going to hit the road for like a year. We'll discuss that down the road because it's going to be a fun
can't wait for this.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can talk about it, but I'm going to be on the road for an entire year.
Are you going to need Miss Lisa? Are you going to need Miss Lisa's travel help?
Well, I booked a bunch of Airbnbs already, so I don't know. I might need her to help me with roads, to be totally honest, because I might get lost somewhere. But we'll do an episode about that. It'll be fun.
Fun.
But yeah, so I'm trying new things in Dallas, and as we know, speaking of Dallas, might want to get into this now. I woke up this morning. Now, I don't have it, but you do. AT&T was shut down.
It was. Look, I had just one of those nightmare days that you really don't want to think about. But actually, if you travel a lot, you learn to adapt and overcome. Traveling is something that, for those of us who do it regularly, and I travel about, I don't know, James, I guess, just for judging on podcast stuff, I'm about at least 2 weeks almost out of every month I'm on the road.
Oh, yeah. Altogether, it's at least 2 full weeks on the road.
Oh, yeah, a month, and sometimes a little more. So you get used to traveling. Well, this morning I am, bebopping up, and I'm actually I'm taping this from from DC for CPAC and everything starting tomorrow. But I get up, riding to the airport 4 a.m. I get out at the airport about 5. I'm riding in from the park and ride, and just piddling on my phone like I always do. It's bored, and all of a sudden my phone. I look down at it. I was looking somewhere else, looked down on it, and my phone says SOS at the top. Nothing. And I'm going to the airport at Hartsfield, Jackson Airport, and I don't have a ticket. I don't have anything. So I have to go to the counter and get a printed ticket. Fortunately, got to finally get some Wi-Fi, which my iPhone would actually do the iMessaging so I could text my wife and let her sort of know what's going on. She ended up having a problem. Make a long story short, this is all all over the country. Immediately, the conspiracy theorists were out. And, amazingly so, James. I'm sure you've seen some of that.
Oh, I've seen them all. Some of them are hilarious. Let's be honest. Yeah. But it's mainly, and I know we joke about it a lot, but it's mainly just China. It's just people talking about China. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that. I just think it's so funny that it's like no matter what happens, the first thing we do is like, well, it's got to be China. It has to be China.
Well, here's an interesting part. I did get this from a friend of mine who is an AT&T, who is, round phone. He knows it. He has friends there. Anyway, and I've heard this from other places as well now, later in the day. There was not only was this seem to be affecting the cell phone towers and other things, but it did affect everybody, all carriers at least a little bit. AT&T seemed to be one of the worst. But there was a software update that was scheduled for the last couple of days. I've been seeing it on my phone. You know how I don't know if you don't have an iPhone.
I don't have an iPhone, no.
But I'm sure Android does this. I'm sure Android does the same thing. If there's an update, it comes up on your phone saying this update will download at night or whatever. And it hadn't downloaded, and now they're saying that it was possibly related to that. And then you take on to the conspiracy theorists who say that is the way that China or other powers, North Korea, under anybody, Russia, whoever could get into that through those software patches. I wasn't sure, didn't put a lot of stock into it until, I'll be frank with you, I turned off the automatic downloads on my cell phone, and amazingly, within about 2 minutes, I had cell service. So
I mean, it's not crazy. I heard this is the one I heard too, is that it's possible that it was an update thing.
Yeah.
And listen, let's be totally real. Whether we like it or not, someone can hack all of us at any time, whenever they want to. Like some guy that you met at a Starbucks can do that. You don't think but again, we're prepared. I think we're prepared in the way, like, if they do it, we'll do it kind of thing. The way we talk about like a nuclear strike. Like, well, they do it, we're going to do it. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but it felt like today was like a bad test, didn't it? Like that's what everyone. That's like what the feelings around is like. Wow, we failed miserably in the sense like it shut down and we shut down.
Well, I did. I'm a prime example. Okay, look, as long as I had my Wi-Fi, if I could get to a Wi-Fi, I was able to communicate. If I wasn't, then I was shut down. And I had to go to an office up here that I go to all the time, but it has a security entrance and everything. And I'm not at this office all the time, so I typically don't keep a pass card to get in. So I was in the lobby of this office building trying to get somebody up in the office to answer the phone through the security guard at the gate in the vestibule. Nobody would answer the phone. I started having to finally got email as the Wi-Fi of the building and started emailing people to come get me. I couldn't get into the building. It was like, okay, my God,
Please come get me.
Please come get me. I'm homeless. I'll leave my cardboard box outside. I promise.
Listen, Doug, you brought this up prior to the show. It's just how reliant, obviously, we are on this. But let me ask them, because this is so we grew up different generations.
Yep.
But my generation was the one where everybody who was in like 7th or 8th grade and up was just starting to get cell phones, and it had nothing to do with my kid deserves a cell phone. It has to do with, I can't find my kid most of the time. He needs a cell phone.
Yeah, well, look, I grew up in the generation they couldn't find me and they didn't care. So I mean, it's
right. So it
come home when he's hungry.
I remember. I could give you a quick story and then we can go on. But I was in 7th grade, and I said, "Mom, I want a cell phone," and she goes, "No." I said, "Mom, I need a cell phone. I'll be responsible with it." Of course, I lied right to my mother's face when I said that. But the point was that, like you, I grew up in the suburbs by the woods, all this stuff. When I wanted to go outside, I said, "See ya," got on my bike, disappeared for a couple hours. My mom and dad just prayed I came back. Yeah. That's probably similar to you as a kid, right?
Oh, yeah. I spent more time outside in the woods across from where we were at, up and down the street, places that even my dad, who may listen to this podcast, I will not talk about how far we went.
No, we ain't getting in trouble. No, we're not trying to get anybody in trouble right now.
No, Leonard is still very much there. And but we went down to the lake. I mean, we started more fires in the woods next to up from my house that was the big thing. And we started fires with matches if we had them. That was a big day. If we had a match, that was a pretty big day. If we had a lighter, somebody had been really good. So, but most of the time we would just use the old fashioned magnifying glass and we just burn stuff. And, if you've never started a fire with a magnifying glass, you're missing out in life. I'm telling you. Okay. I won't mention other things you can do with the magnifying glass and things in the woods, but we'll just leave that for another day.
You give me and my friends a couple of hours. I will never. I don't know if I told this story on here before, and I'll keep it really brief because I'm pretty sure we're still out on. The law is still looking for us. But because we got bored one day, we took a slingshot with paintball guns, with paintball ammo, and we just started firing them at kids that were on a lake covered in ice. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids get up to really dumb things when they ain't got anything to do. Okay. And funny enough though, but the point is that like I needed a cell phone because my mom was like, "I can't find you and I'm sick of looking for you. Yeah. And I need to be able to call you when you get home." And now that's turned into like, if you don't have a cell phone, you're going to die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm ashamed of myself.
15 years.
Yeah, I'm ashamed of myself in many ways of the cell phone dependency, and we'll sort of end this here. I'm a reader. I love to read. I can read books. If I'm really focused on it and I have time, I can do a novel, every 2 or 3 days. I've always been this way. I read when I was in school. I mean, I've shared before on here talking about intellectual property. For me, books and the radio were how I escaped from my room when I was growing up. Dad worked as a state trooper, so he had to work holidays and stuff, and we didn't go a lot of places, didn't have a lot of money. We had nothing we didn't lack for anything. My dad made sure of that, and my mama. But we wasn't rich. We couldn't go anywhere. So it was, it was books, and this is one I'm reading right now, The Last Line by Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer. And I'll read it. If I would sit down, I'd read it in a day or two. And that was what got me away. When I was bored, I had a book in my hand. Right. Nowadays, if I'm bored, I have this stupid thing in my hand. And
scrolling through, baby.
Scrolling. And I watched it, and it bothers me more and more. And again, I am admittedly one of the worst.
Sure.
Because right now it's my wife and I and our daughter Jordan who are together because the boys have moved out. And we go places, and I sit there at night. Sometimes I'll sit there and watch. All three of us have the TV on, and all three of us have phone in our hand.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but it's how we live. Doug, the other day, I spent an hour and a half down a rabbit hole looking at livestock guardian dog Instagram. Do you have any idea the Googling I did after I went on there? I was about to buy a farm, Doug, because all I wanted was a livestock guardian dog to guard sheep that I don't own. That's the rabbit hole it took me down.
Yeah, but you see the same thing. And now I've gotten to where I can't watch a movie at home without looking the movie up.
Oh,
looking for some of the characters. What are they doing now?
Yeah.
And look,
think about all the people that are going to miss out, like that, like when the horrible movies and TV you got to watch as a kid because you didn't have a choice. It was on TBS or whatever it was. And you were like, I guess I got to watch this. And it ends up being one of your favorite movies, even though Rotten Tomatoes or whatever stupid things, like this is the worst movie that's ever come out.
Yeah. Let's take that one for a second. As we jump off of the stupidity of a phone, but stay in this same vein, I want to know who these people on Rotten Tomatoes and the Oscar voters and everybody else, because they vote some movies, some of the best movies they vote is awful. I mean, who are these snobs? I mean,
The Shape of Water, Doug. The Shape of Water. Lady makes love to a fish. Shape of Water. That's all. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no.
You're right, though. You're 100% right because, there was recent information saying that some of these Rotten Tomato, critics were actually, paid off.
Yeah.
Which only proves that it's all nonsense.
Well, it's just ridiculous. I mean, to see some movies that, you sit there and say, no, this is great stuff, or interesting stuff. And look, I guess for some, I don't need the in-depth, make me think in 3 cosmic levels, to a film to make it good. I want something that's interesting, that keeps my attention. I may know in the end that, it's going to work out this way. That's like, I don't know if have you watched Reacher?
Reacher? Oh, it's one of my favorite shows. We're hooked. Me and my brother were hooked on it immediately.
Yeah, okay. And so we're all now waiting for season 3.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, Reacher at times is just, so out there. Yeah, no, that ain't going to happen. Okay? But
yeah,
you watch it because that's why you watch it.
Every once in a while, Doug, we just need a guy who's going to kick some butt, and he's super jacked, and he gets the girl. Is that the worst thing in the world to watch?
No, I don't think so. And it's the reason.
And then he saves America. Come on.
Yeah, and that we made it. It's the reason Fast and Furious does so well.
Yeah, it's stupid. It is stupid. I'm not debating that part of it, but it's also it gets my adrenaline pumping, and I want to be the hero.
Okay, think about this. Fast and Furious 10, which was just out this past year, and they've got the sequel coming up, which was
absolutely, and I'm going to go and see it like an idiot.
But think about it. Fast and Furious 9 literally had Ludacris and
Tyrese Gibbs. Tyrese Gibbs
in a DeLorean docking with a space station.
Yeah, they went into space. But if that's the thing, it's like, what's the Godzilla versus King Kong, right?
Yeah.
People were upset about that movie because there was some stuff that was inaccurate. What do you mean? It's about a giant gorilla fighting a giant lizard. There's nothing inaccurate about it. You went to a movie to see them destroy a city and then fight people. I can't fathom how that makes sense to you, that you saw that movie and were like, I got some real problems with this. Name the problem.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
It's like people who don't like Creed, or they don't like Rocky, or they don't like, these movies. I like that. I tell you one.
I hate Rocky. But we've had this discussion before.
Love Rocky. Okay. But anyway, to move on, do you remember the show, it's Up in the Air? And this is what I'm reaching for a little bit, but if you're like me and you watch a lot of movies at home, because me and the girls, that's what we do at night. Up in the Air is George Clooney, and he plays a guy who goes into companies and lays people off. And the girl from Pitch Perfect is in it.
Anna Kendrick.
Anyway, if you've never seen it, it's worth a view. But there are people like, this is not good. But it just tells a story. And, to me, I enjoyed it. It's like The Accountant, Ben Affleck in The Accountant. If you've not seen that one.
That's a banger. That's an absolute banger. I love that movie. I'm going to be honest. I went into that blind, and it was awesome.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, and I do that, just going into movies, and you see, and then, of course, always you get the Goodwill Huntings, of the world. You get the, Ben Affleck, Matt, by the way, okay, and we haven't done this, and because I have not been here to do this. Hands down, one of the funniest, because we talked about the commercials before the commercials, and then I was gone, but the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck, I mean, come on.
Yeah, they crushed it in that one. They knew their audience. They crushed that.
I mean, and the best one in the whole thing was Matt Damon.
Yeah, because he was like, I really do. He was so clear. I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a part of this. It's true though. Like they're like they get. Listen, they first of all, we can make fun of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Everybody wants to make fun of them for whatever reason. They're the ones living the dream. They're doing it.
Yeah. Look, I think Damon is an amazing actor. Number one. I think he is really good. I like Affleck. Affleck played that accountant with that sort of autistic kind of spectrum kind of view in The Accountant to a T. I mean, he killed it.
Yeah. Oh, he was incredible.
And he killed it. And, and some of his other stuff I hadn't been as impressed with. But Matt Damon, from the Bourne series to the Ocean series to, the Goodwill Hunting he is just funny, and he's really, really good. But that Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Tom Brady and that Matt Damon said, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this." And then he said, at the end of he's leaving, he said, "When I told you I'd do anything for you, well, this is anything." and what makes it even better is if you know the two of them, they're actually lifelong friends.
Right. Yeah, of course.
They actually grew up together, wrote Goodwill Hunting together, and I'm old enough to remember when they won the Oscars for that, and they were the youngest writing.
Didn't they bring their moms?
I think so. It was just cool.
They're just like they look like they're actors, but they felt like blue collar guys at the time. Yeah, and I think people really like that.
Yeah,
right. That's part of the lore. By the way, did you see Air?
Hair?
No, Air. The one about the
I did. Actually, and Damon.
I mean, is that one of the most well written movies you've seen in like 10 years? I was literally blown away by it.
It was good, and Damon's character, really good.
And like Sonny Vaccaro, like I've watched a lot of documentaries. I love Jordan sneakers. I'm a big fan of them. The whole they crushed it in every way, and that's because they wrote great scripts.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's like look, I don't like his politics. I think he's way out there politically. But Aaron Sorkin, Aaron wrote The American President. He wrote The West Wing. He wrote. He was part of there's some of The Practice and some of those others that were just really, his writing is very, very good. And it's very relatable and it's very watchable. But, get me into that kind of a dialogue. You get good dialogue. Good dialogue makes a good movie.
I'm hooked. Absolutely. We've discussed this before. If you have good dialogue, you will hook the audience. The movie could be about creating a piece of paper and you'd watch it if it had good dialogue.
Oh yeah, it just like I said, it's just one of those things to really look at. And it's like why we're missing. And again, I don't watch a lot of stuff that's on TV right now. I haven't in 30 years. What happens at our house, especially when the kids were young, we didn't have time. We were doing homework, baseball,
right, of course, yeah.
So we would catch it after the fact most of the time. And so now we catch it on the other. Blacklist is another one that just blows me away.
How far are you into the Blacklist?
I'm into the season. We finally got to the last 10. Finally came up on Netflix, and we're on.
So you guys are there. Okay.
Third episode.
The first 5 seasons of that show are a masterpiece.
Oh yeah. I
tried to hold off on watching that. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. I don't know if I'm going to care enough. It's one of those CBS shows. I don't trust them or whatever was on ABC. But it absolutely blew me away for that kind of production. Like, they crushed it. James Spader is an absolute genius.
Yeah, James Spader is one of my top 10 actors by far.
Wow.
He just gets into the character, especially when he's playing legal. If you remember him in Boston Legal or
him and what's his name?
Yeah, William Shatner.
Yeah.
Again, that got sort of ludicrous. The first few seasons were actually good. That's one of those shows where you realize it's a farce, you realize it's a comedy, but they have about 5 to 10 minutes in every show that is just legit. Dang.
Right.
Dang.
But by the way, I have a family member that worked with William Shatner when he was doing those commercials, the Expedia commercials, and she said he is as absolutely insane as you believe he is. He is not everything you see. He is absolutely that crazy.
Oh yeah, he's a nut. He's funny, and I've got friends out there who say, and they say Spader though. Spader is a really interesting guy. I've heard some different reports about him off the screen that I would prefer just to remember him on screen. But because he's just one of those eccentric characters going on. But just good stuff. Those are the kind of things that I like. But there's not the West Wings. There's not the Practice. There's not the Boston Legal. There's not the some of those shows. And I know people get on the website, go to dougcollins.com, podcast.com, hit me an email and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. Go ahead.
Have you seen Succession?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen some of the Succession, but that was like Ozark. We've watched Ozark. Ozark was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like The Ranch. My wife does not like 30-minute shows, period. She just doesn't like them. She doesn't watch any of them. But The Ranch, to me, was one of the funnier
that had a good few first seasons for sure. Yeah. I was surprised because I was like, it's got the laugh track. I don't trust laugh tracks anymore. It was funny,
and they brought it back in at the end. If you watch the whole series, it was they really again a little far fetched, a little yeah right. You're not gonna get arrested that many times, all that kind of crap. But again, it's, if you're, some people think that a finger painting should be a Mona Lisa, and they're just idiots. But give me a
Doug,
break.
I'm getting that tattooed on my neck. That's a great quote. That's beautiful. Some people think finger painting should be a Mona Lisa. I love that.
It's just not. But Sam Elliott is also one of my favorite actors as well.
Oh yeah, his when I first watched Roadhouse and he showed up in that movie, I was like, oh, this is going to be the coolest movie ever because it's Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze. Come on.
Oh God, it was killer. So anyway, that's a lot of going down the road of this is what Friday's Finest is best for. When you and I just sort of riff off of life as we go. Speaking of riffing off of life, Stephen A. Smith, who we talk about occasionally here on the show, about like Pat McAfee. We haven't talked about Pat lately, but Stephen A. Smith had he hit it, he nailed it. Kudos to Stephen A. Smith. He finally said the silent part out loud. We're going to put that into I want you to hear this now, and then we'll talk about it. James, he's spot on.
Yeah.
Why do we have to include Notre Dame? Well, Notre Dame might not get into the final 12, and Notre Dame the best they could get is top 5. Well, join a freaking conference and play. And shut up.
You can't pretend that you can't say what is it? You can't claim woe is me if you are the reason for your circumstances.
Yeah. You can't make your own, you can't wet your own bed and then complain because it's wet. Okay. I'm sorry. But I am so sorry. Look, and I have great respect for Lou Holtz, who was the last person to win a national title at Notre Dame. Okay. Lou Holtz is a friend. I love Lou Holtz. Great guy. But that was in 1988. You know what happened, James, in 1988 in my life? Just like Stephen A. was talking about getting out of high school. You know what I was doing in 1988? I got married. I had been married for 36 years. Okay? This is, Lisa and I have raised 3, fortunately Lisa was there. We raised 3 beautiful kids. Their oldest is 31. The youngest is almost 26. Don't tell me. And the last time you made the championship game, you got literally annihilated, and you had a linebacker who thought he was dating a figment of his imagination. I mean, I just, why do we keep putting Notre Dame? Why does NBC accept the fact? And I've got a lot of Notre Dame friends who listen to this podcast. Go ahead and get mad at me now. I've already told you about this. You're not elite. You're not. You're a decent team who plays a weak schedule most of the time.
Oh man, I don't think I have the college football vernacular that others do, but I know this: people care about Notre Dame because of Rudy. People care about Notre Dame because it's Irish Catholic families grew up rooting for Notre Dame. That's a fact. Okay, if you were Catholic, you were rooting for Notre Dame. That's just how it worked, and that's a big part of this country. And I know it's silly to say that, and they won back in the day, and that's all well and good. But there's a lot of teams in the NCAA. I mean, so all of a sudden SMU should still be a power? Is that what we're saying? I'm just saying, like I know they didn't probably have as long a run as Notre Dame did, but it wasn't that far off. I mean, let's stop pretending that they've been this elite. They've been nowhere near Georgia. Nowhere near Alabama. Nowhere near. I don't even think they were near Clemson.
Oh, Am I wrong? They're not near Ohio State. They're not near Michigan. It pains me to say that. They're not near them. They're not even near Penn State. They're not near Texas. They're not near Oklahoma. And also, while we're at this, let's just throw in USC and UCLA while we're at it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of hearing every year UCLA, USC, USC. Look, and
USC's dead.
We ain't even getting into the debate on the fact that we may get Justin Fields and Caleb Williams going to Chicago, but I mean that's a whole other problem. But it's just, I mean, Stephen A. Kudos, Stephen A.
Yeah, he crushed it.
There's that. He hit it. Thank God, he finally hit it. Speaking of things that need to go away, and you brought this up, is basically professional all-star games.
Oh my God, Doug.
You're the NBA guy. I mean, you're the NBA guy. I can't.
Can I talk about this for a minute? Can I please get on my soapbox for a minute?
Go right ahead.
Doug, you just said it. I'm a hoop head. I love basketball. When I was a kid, I would not go out so I could watch All-Star Saturday Night and All-Star Sunday. I didn't care. I didn't care what was going on. I made sure I was home. I had people come over for it. Because every once in a while, we got a great dunk contest, or every once in a while, there was some fun All-Star game. The last 5 years of this event, outside of the one good Elam ending event that we had, and even then it kind of fizzled out, it's been trash. Move on. They don't want to play. They made it so clear they don't want to play. There's no defense, nothing. And this goes for the other things. You said it earlier. Do we want to watch football as flag football? I don't want to see the best athletes in the world playing flag football. You know who I want to see playing flag football? Fat people, lazy people, guys who are like, I busted my knee and that's why I didn't go pro. That's who I want to watch play flag football. That's just what I want to do. Okay, I want to see my friends play flag football. I want to play flag football. But if it's something that I can do, I don't want to see professionals doing it. I don't. And to be quite honest, baseball sucks mainly because they have all these pitchers that come in rotation and they're throwing absolute gas so guys can't hit the ball.
But you know something, just move on. Can I jump in though? I will say this.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball has done something the other two have went. The other two have went away from actually being a real game. Okay?
Yes.
Major League Baseball has at least said, look, the winner of this gets the home field advantage for –
Well, they got rid of that though.
Yeah, then they got rid of it, which is stupid. But,
right, and that's why it's kind of gone a little to the wayside. And I think people rightfully – see, to me, though, I understand it a little bit because you're like, this is going to decide, even though I worked my tail off all year, whether it's going to be home field advantage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think there's a solution. I just think you cancel it, and then people will go, wow, I missed this. We need this back. Maybe players will say to themselves, you know what, we deserve to give this to the fans.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do anything with pro football, look, I almost get football, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, because you go back to some of the older all-star games, when they actually, 50,000 meant something to a player, okay? Or 75,000 for the winning.
Yeah.
It meant something. Doesn't mean anything now. I mean, they would hit each other. I mean,
we've all seen the Sean Taylor, not Sean Taylor. Yeah.
hit the punter. Yeah.
Yeah, when he absolutely eviscerated that guy. Yeah, that's one of the greatest plays in All-Star history, Pro Bowl history.
I understand. Well, you also got Petey Rose running over the catcher in the All-Star game too, which, by the way, still my outstanding. Here's my 2-second commercial. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Period.
Factual. Facts.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a disgrace to Cooperstown that he's not. A disgrace to Cooperstown that he is not in the Hall of Fame. It's also a disgrace, if we want to get on to disgrace, it's also a disgrace that Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. Not Nolan Ryan. Yeah, Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another. I hate Nolan Ryan not because of how great of a player he was, but because he was on the Mets first, and then they got rid of him.
Oh my God, he was amazing. Go watch. Okay, here's we talk about watching stuff. Go to is either Netflix or one of them, or that you can go and watch the Nolan Ryan. And James, I encourage you to do this because he's a Texas boy. Go watch the Nolan documentary, and I think it's called Nolan. You will come away changed. It is phenomenal. I watched it on the plane about a year and a half ago. Amazing. He was wild as a buck when he was with the Mets, and he was on Seaver's staff and everybody else, and then he just became unhittable. I got you one though that's unhittable, and he is in the Hall of Fame, and he is one of the best ever to do the game, and that's Greg Maddux. I read a statistic the other day that he faced like 3,700 batters or something. Maybe it was more than that. Anyway, 1.5% ever went to 3-0 on him.
That's ridiculous.
It was like 380 something batters ever saw a 3-0 count. And here's the better statistic: half of those were intentional walks.
Yeah, and the other half were probably Tony Gwynn.
Well, the other thing with Tony Gwynn, wasn't it Tony Gwynn? He could have went 0 for 1,100 in his last 1,100 at bats and still batted over 300.
Yeah. We don't talk about him enough. I really believe that.
And now we don't have that kind of players anymore. We don't have look, Nolan Ryan and others complete games. He had more complete games in the first half of the year than major league pitchers have in careers.
Yeah.
They don't pitch.
Yeah, his arm must have been a literal piece of spaghetti when he retired.
But the sad part about it, I don't think it was. And if you watch the series, he still throws. We've just developed a professional base, which is one of the reasons I think baseball is not what it used to be. And yes, baseball has always been a slow sport. It's always been a radio sport to me. It's something to listen to on your fishing. You're out you're working in the field. You're plowing or you're driving. I love listening to baseball. Okay.
Yeah.
I played it for most all of my life. I coached it, and I love to just listen to good baseball announcers having fun and announcing a baseball game. I can visualize it. I can see it, as opposed to even football or basketball. Baseball is something you can visualize. But we've gone away from it. You got pitchers who, we took away, we made the designated hitter in both leagues now, another atrocity that should never see its light of day. Designated hitter is a joke, should not be in either league, but that's okay. And now we made, pitchers who pitch 5 innings and that's all they do, 5 or 6 innings. I haven't seen this statistic, but I wonder how many complete games there were pitched in the National League last year, and in the whole MLB. I have no idea, but I bet you it's under 10.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I bet we should. We could probably find that, but I'll try to find it here.
Yeah, complete games for last season. It probably is a little more than 10, but it ain't much more. And it's only probably because you had some going to the 7th inning with a no-hitter. The managers now have become very adept at letting there'll be multiple game no-hitters. Multiple pitcher no-hitters.
If there's one thing I hate about baseball is that they separate National League and whatever. This is so dumb. Year leaguers. I don't need complete games pitched by year. Okay. This is up to 2021 was 33.
Yeah.
So God only knows what it's at now. I don't know why they don't have another one.
Bob Gibson, I think, actually pitched 33 complete games in 1 year by himself.
Well, for reference, 2002 there was a 210 complete games.
We've just gotten the
analytics say don't do it, and people believe in analytics over everything.
Soft. Well, and also, by the way, since we're referencing movies and everything else, a very underrated movie that critics did not like, but is one of the best and one of his best acting performances, Kevin Costner in For the Love of the Game.
Oh, yeah.
I still will sit there as a kid who played baseball and loved baseball growing up, and I still get teary.
Are you a Bull Durham fan?
Yeah, I like Bull Durham. It's funny.
Okay.
It's funny. I'm also a natural. The Natural. It's just too long.
Oh, man. I watched that for the first time 5 years ago. One of the best movies I've ever watched.
It is. And it's just so freaking long. But
Yes.
and Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams.
Yeah, but Field of Dreams makes you cry. Man, all it does is make you think about your parents. It absolutely makes you cry.
If you don't cry at Field of Dreams, your cry mechanism's broken.
You're a robot.
It is. As we finish up here today, though, I do have one great thing to announce for the rest of the world. We've talked about this on the podcast before, and it looks like Joe Biden may have done partially something right. I don't give him credit for this. I think he probably stumbled into it. China, Xi, is actually going to be sending 2 sets of pandas to the San Diego Zoo sometime later this year. So we're getting a male and female panda coming to San Diego. And right now there are 4 pandas at the Atlanta Zoo, but they're scheduled to leave later this year as well. So we're going to have 2, but it looks like they are going to continue sending us pandas. The only animal I've ever watched in my life that I have no idea how they survive in the wild.
It's baffling because they are just giant, like bowling balls that fall out of trees.
Funny. They're
hilarious.
I mean,
they're absolutely hilarious. Did you ever remember the video that went viral like 10, 15 years ago where the baby panda sneezes and scares the mom?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like
that was like one of the biggest videos on the planet, and it's all because they're pandas.
Well, I love it when they had a panda that was in a swing and just watching him, and it ends up turning over and falling over. And I mean, it's just, oh my God, it's freaking hilarious. And then they get up like, well, how'd that happen? It's just funny.
Yeah,
but anyway,
they don't care. That's the problem is they look adorable too, and they would eat you immediately. But like, I don't know. I think it's very funny. They're just
pandas are great.
America could use more pandas, huh?
I got to agree with it. So that's where we'll come to the end today. We've discussed a lot of things here on the Doug Collins podcast. If you are hearing this on Friday, the 23rd, and you are in, or the 24th in DC, if you're at CPAC, please come see me. I'd love to find me. We'll get a picture. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks for supporting the podcast. We will be there tomorrow, most all day, doing some criminal justice stuff, also doing a lot of Media Row. And then, like I said, on Saturday, I'll be right up before President Trump speaks at 12 o'clock. I'll be the last panel before President Trump speaks. So it'll be about 30, 45 minutes before he speaks, but we're in that last panel talking Bidenomics and the crush of how Bidenomics is taking it out of America. And with that, James, any last word?
Cancel the All-Star games.
Cancel the All-Star game. I love it. A prediction here, and this is one hard for me to take, but it does appear that Chicago is going to trade away their number 1 pick, and it looks like that Justin Fields may be a new quarterback in Atlanta. As before we came on, there was this big article about the fact that the 3 main offensive weapons in Atlanta have all unfollowed. Talking about back to our phone addictions, unfollowed Desmond Ridder on social media.
And don't forget that he unfollowed the Bears.
Yeah, and he also said
it's happening, boys. Let's let it happen.
Yeah, he said he also unfollowed the NFL because he was just tired of watching. I don't mind him because everything in Chicago is keep Justin, kill Justin, keep Justin, take Justin out. It's like I could.
Oh yeah, he should turn off the internet. To be honest,
yeah, I agree. It's all over. Well, that's it for the Friday's Finest here for the Doug Collins podcast with my host, James. Chip is out there somewhere in Etherville. He'll be back with us next week as we get continue on. Hope y'all have a great weekend, great Friday. And if you're, like I said, if you're in CPAC, come see me.